Okay, Studnickaaquatics here. The nights have been staying, the greenhouse has been warming up really good during the day, even on days when it is cold. We're getting a lot of sunshine now. And I have a thermometer that sits in here and then the readout's in the house, and it has not been going below freezing, and it's not supposed to all week. So I think I'm going to go ahead and prep this thing and start moving my plants in from the basement. And what I'll do is I want to wet everything down and get this all soaked up so I can keep my humidity up, because it'll soak it up pretty quick at first. And I'll do that with this wand. I did buy a new one. This is a metal one. The other one quit working, so I'm going to get rid of it. But I need to spray it down. I'm going to use this splitter here so that I can have more than one thing hooked up off the house at one time. I can have one going to the pond, one going to my water system, which is up there, which I can automate with this timer if I want to. And once I get everything wetted down, I will hook it up to that one and make sure that my water system is working and that the lines aren't plugged. Basically, the way that works, you know, it goes all the way up there. It just goes on top of each shelf is what it does. And they have foggers in them, so it works very, very well. I have a bunch of plants in the basement that I want to move in here. And then I'm going to repot a lot of them and put them in 3-inch pots. I have quite a few more of the 3-inch pots. I have a lot of pots. So I'm going to work on that today, and I'll just keep adding to this video as I go. And once I get done, I should be in pretty good shape here. And I will be able to get my plants all out in the greenhouse. So I'll add more to this later. Okay, I have my splitter on here. These two just go to various hoses. I have one in the pond right now. The pond's low. I'm going to order a liner this week, hopefully do it next weekend. And then this one here goes to the actual hand wand in the greenhouse, and this one goes to the watering system. So I'm going to turn this one on, and we are going to get some water going through the greenhouse and make sure that the water system is working properly. Okay, the watering system is working. As you can see, we have water coming out of all of the foggers or misters, and it just has a nice even, cool stream of water everywhere. It's really neat. It works out very, very well. So I'm going to let this run here for just a little bit. I'll then have to check out that thing there to make sure my wand is working properly for hand watering stuff, and then I'll be ready to start moving plants. So things are looking good. I also need to adjust my ventilation system, and I'll go over that with you here in a little while. So we'll add more to this later. Okay, these are all the plants that I'm going to be moving. I have tomatoes, peppers, hot peppers, bell peppers. I have white marigolds. I have some various flowers to put in the yard. I also have muskmelons, cucumbers, zucchinis, some broccoli, some different things. So I'm going to start moving all this stuff out into the greenhouse, and then we'll add more to this when we get it out there. Okay, I have all the plants moved in here, and what I need to do now is get them out of these trays. I had them in trays so water didn't drip on the floor in the basement, but I don't need trays here. I want the water to go through so that they don't get too waterlogged and turn to mold and stuff. So I'll get all those out of the trays. I'm going to get them situated on my shelves here, and I believe what I'm going to do is, I believe the tomatoes, they're kind of stemmy, so I'm going to bury them as deep as I can. I have 4 tomatoes there and a bunch here, and I think I'm going to pot them into the 4-inch pots. And that way they have a little place to grow, and that's what these wires are for, is for tomatoes. It keeps the tomatoes from falling over, and they grab a hold of it, and they do very well in here. So I'm going to go ahead and start potting. I don't have a lot of potting soil, but I do have some, and I see I have some stuff over here, so maybe I can mix it all together and do that all at once. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, I also have some manure that I can throw on there. So I could take that, I could mix it with that potting soil there, and yeah, and I could mix it with that. I think I'm going to mix it all together maybe in that bucket, and that'll make it easier to do anyway. So once I get them all on the shelves and get everything in here, I will chime in again later. Okay, I have everything potted, running the water right now, give everything a nice drink. Everything's cleaned up. As soon as the water shuts off here, we will do a little tour of what I have planned. But I'd show you this real quick. It evidently hit 90 degrees in here because my ventilation fan has now come on. and you can see the louvers have kicked out, the fan is working, and it just moves air through here, and it just feels absolutely wonderful in here when it does that, and it gets that air moving through it and really cools it off in here quick. It probably won't run very long once it gets down below 90. I might turn it up just a little bit more because I want to hold as much heat as I can in here before tonight. So I'm going to kick that up to maybe 90 to 95, and then that way it'll kick off. So anyway, thought I'd add that in there. Okay, everything is watered. This bench that I put in here, it does fold up. I have it on hinges, and you can actually fold it up out of the way. I like to leave it down. I think it looks nice, and it gives me a working space. And what I have on this side are all of my tomatoes. They're looking a little rough right now because I just transplanted them, but you know, they'll fill out, they'll get big, they'll do very, very well in here. Most of these are paste tomatoes. I prefer those. On this shelf down here, I have some white marigolds, and then some bell peppers, some piñata peppers, and some jalapeno peppers. And the bells really germinated very good. On the very bottom shelf on this side, I have more white marigolds. I have some broccoli. I have some kohlrabi. I think I might have some cauliflower. I have some purple coneflowers, and I have some butterfly weeds. So I do have one more shelf up here that I probably won't be using this year until some of these get bigger. Once they start filling out, sometimes I have to kind of scatter them out a little bit. One thing you have to watch is make sure you don't have a pot right underneath the drip from one of these when you shut it off, because it'll just soak a plant. So I try to make sure I avoid that. And on this side over here, these are all my vining plants. On the top here, I have zucchinis on this end. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zucchini pots. And then over here, I have mini midget melons up on that side. These here are cantaloupe. This whole shelf here is all cantaloupe on this side. And then the bottom ones are all of my cucumbers. So I don't like to put too many down there because they vine out quite a bit. And if you leave them in the greenhouse, you have to hand pollinate them. And you can do that with a little paintbrush. It's not that tough to do. Also in the spring and summer, sometimes I'll leave this door open, and bees have figured out that if they come in here, they can pollinate and then they fly back out. So I do get some pollination that way. The temperature in here right now is about 72 degrees, which is nice. And what I do for watering, of course, is this system up here. And it only has to be on for 2-3 minutes, and it just does a wonderful job. Ventilation, this fan up here is actually made for a Quonset, and I put a timer in for an attic of a house, because that way you can go up to whatever temperature you want before it kicks on. And right now I have it at 90, so when it hits 90 degrees in here, that fan will kick on and it moves air through here, and it does a very good job of it. And the other thing I've done is down in the lower part here, which is always in the shade from the outside, I have 2 vents down there. And so when that ventilation fan comes on, it pulls cool air from down there that's always in the shade, because it's blocked by my house. So there's never any direct sunlight on them vents. And it pulls air from there through the whole system. So it works very, very well. The other thing that really makes it work are these little Venetian blinds, because in the spring, and well, especially in the summer, if you have the blinds open, it'll hit 130 degrees in here. It's just sun, is so hot behind glass. So I can turn them into shade so that you still do have enough light, but it doesn't burn the plants. And I'll probably do that before I go to work tomorrow. These plants were in the basement under light, artificial light. So I don't want to hit them with a whole lot of light first off. Just kind of let them kind of toughen up for it. So that's what I've done. Greenhouse is looking good. I really enjoy having it. I do, just in case it is going to get cool, I have a little space heater I can set in the middle of the room and turn it on super low on a thermostat. And then that way, if it does get below 40 in here at night, I can get that little bit of heat in here. The other thing I'm planning on doing this summer is completely redoing this thing on the outside. Every window gets pulled, all the wood gets pulled on the outside, and I'm going to frame this whole thing up in redwood and polycarbonate, so it'll be thermal pane on all 4 sides. And all of this stuff up here will get fiberglass insulation, and then will be covered with this corrugated fiberglass like it is on the outside. And I'm going to do the same thing to the top. That way I have a better chance of keeping this going through the winter. And the other thing I'm going to be doing fairly soon is I need to pick up some wood, and I think the metal on this screen door is in great shape, but the wood is completely rotted. So I think I'm just going to get me some redwood, and I'm going to take all the metal off. I'm going to sand it down, repaint it, and I'm going to build me a redwood door and use the metal from this door. And that way I can close that gap, I can get it true, and get everything working. So anyway, that is my greenhouse. I got everything moved in here, and I do have, as I mentioned earlier, I have a thermometer right there that I can read from inside my house, so I know if the temperature is getting too low or too hot. And when it does start warming up, I use this timer right here, which you can go all the way down to 1 minute on it. And it's a water timer, so that maybe 3 times a day it comes on for about 3 minutes and just mists everything, cools it down. The ventilation fan keeps it from getting too hot. Works very well. So anyway, that is my greenhouse. I do have my plants moved. They look kind of small now, but they will grow once you put them in here. So that's my video today, and thanks for watching.